Okay, so this is the last thing from 15.1. Check your understanding, page 192. It says, solve each system, explain why you chose a particular solution method. So I'm allowed to pick substitution or elimination, and I'm going to tell you how I choose. So for number 1, I'm looking at them. Elimination means I need to do some rearranging to get x's on top of x's here and y's on top of y's so that I can add them together. But if this variable is all set up and equal to something, then I'm going to use substitution. Instead of rearranging this equation to match this equation, I'm going to take this and put it in for y because it's already set up to do substitution. So here I would have 3x plus, and then this says 3x minus 4. Sorry, 3x minus 4 equals negative 4. So far, so good. Okay, now I have 3x and 3x gives me 6x minus 4 equals negative 4. I'm going to add 4 to both sides. That gives me 6x equals 0. And when I divide by 6, I still get x equals 0. So for number 1, the x portion is 0. And now I've got to put that 0 back up here. Well, I'm going to put it 3 times 0 is 0, minus 4 is negative 4. So that's what I get when I use the first one. So I'm going to go ahead and check it in the second one. 3 times 0 plus negative 4 equals negative 4. 0, I got negative 4 is negative 4, so check. So there is my answer. I chose substitution because of the way it was already set up. So this could automatically replace that y. Over here though, in order to do substitution, I would have to rearrange. Now, I'm still not set up for elimination because when I add, I'm going to have like a positive 7x here and a negative negative y, a negative 1y over here. So nothing adds up to 0, but I can still arrange these so that it will. So, for example, if I multiply through here by 4, that'll give me a 12. It'll give me a 12 here if I do that. And down here it's negative, so if I multiply through by a 3, 3 times 4 is negative 12, 4 times 3 is positive 12, my y's will disappear. So I still think elimination is the best option, even though I have to do a step first. It's an easier step than rearranging and solving for a variable. I could solve for y and then substitute it in. It's still right. You can use either one anytime you want. It's when you're given the choice, you want to pick the one I think that is the most simple, has the least amount of steps. So I'm going to multiply everything up here by 4 and everything down here by 3. So that gives me 16x plus 12y equals, and I don't know what 19 times 4 is, so that's 76. And then here I get 3 and 3 is 9x minus 12y. 3 times 8 is 24. And now I need to add those two equations together. And I have it set up so y eliminates. So 16 plus 9 is 25. And 76 plus 24, that's 100. Divide both sides by 25. Some of you got to do this one in class. But again, x is 4 is just half your answer. So I need to pick an original equation and go ahead and substitute in 4. So I'm going to pick the top one. 4 times 4 plus 3y equals 19. That's 16 plus 3y equals 19. I'm going to subtract 16, subtract 16. I get 3y equals 3. Y equals 1. But again, as always, I need to check. So that means this equation, I need to plug in both. So that gives me 3 times 4 minus 4 times 1. That gives me 12 minus 4, which equals 8. Check and check. Okay, so I've shown you both a substitution method and an elimination method, and I've explained to you why I chose my particular solution method. Number 1 was already solved for a variable, so I chose substitution. Number 2 was not solved for a variable, and I had a negative and a positive of one variable, so I could make that make elimination happen. Now, number 3 in the Check Your Understanding says, Sarah solved the system of equations algebraically, and her result was 7 equals negative 4. All of her work was correct. Describe the graph of the system of equations and explain your reasoning. So remember when we used algebra and we got 7 equals negative 4, that meant there was no solution. If all my work is correct, like they said, Sarah's work's all correct, that means that she got no solution in her algebra. The only graph that is no solution are parallel lines. So her graph would look like parallel lines because they never cross. They will never give you a solution. So that's your Check Your Understanding for 15-1.